I go over to his house and he's with a bunch of his boys and they're all on Craigslist and they're looking up schemes of how to catch parrots because you can make apparently like $500 to $600 per fucking parrot. And I remember they had a ploy of getting super soakers and getting the wings of the parrots all wet so it'd be hard for them to fly and then they could catch them.
Did it work?
I don't even know where I heard that. I never looked into it.
Hold on, it was your idea. Hold on a second. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. That's a brand new. This is a fucking year, sir. We are coming to North Korean podcast today. Everybody gonna die.
Got a fireplace too.
If you have a lunch, you're lucky. If you have a breakfast, you don't live in North Korea. Hello, everybody. We have Nick the Ear here. One wonton ear at a time.
Hell
and here
yeah.
we have Patrick, the deadbeat dad.
That's the worst wrestler of all time.
He's just drunk all the time and smoking cigarettes.
Forgot to pick up my daughter again.
With the flask in his hand. You're hungry again? Did you eat yesterday? Fucking cunt.
Deadbeat dad. That should be your whole shtick, dude. I like that.
That should be the shtick.
That should be the whole shtick.
We're in the new podcast now, and it's kind of a blessing. And I was telling these guys earlier that I have had the worst situation with the fucking biggest asshole of a landlord in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're in this new space. By the way, if you're dealing with shitty landlords, fuck them. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying anything racial, right?
Say it.
But maybe you should. Maybe you should say something racial.
But listen, I'll say this. I have a friend who's Indian, right?
Okay.
And I told him about my situation, and this is what he said to me. I go, yeah, my landlord. He goes, what ethnicity is she? I was like, she's Indian. He goes, why the fuck would you rent from an Indian person?
Oh, wow.
And he is Indian.
Wow.
And I was like, why? He goes, you know why, bro. It's like, it was gonna, well, when we first rented from her,
No, tell us why.
Yeah, why?
Because their culture and their food is amazing.
That's why, man.
And it gives you diarrhea every now and then.
True, it does.
It spills out like the truth. So originally we were dealing with a landlord who was this, Chinese lady, which by the way, same thing as Indian, just different shades of color. And so she was perfectly fine. And I guess she fired her. And then we found out that the landlord was going to take over. So I met the landlord and she was super cool at first. Guess what happened? So our year contract ended up. And she asked us if we're going to go month to month or we're going to extend for another year. I said, well, we're going to figure it out, but we love this place, but let's just go month to month for now. And she goes, cool. She sends us a contract and the rent is $300 more. Doesn't even tell us. Just sends us a new contract. And so
kind of fucked up.
Mariel looks at the contract and writes her back, says, hey, is this correct? And she goes, yeah, it is. I'm like, okay, bitch. How about you, I don't know, talk to us?
Yeah, right.
Maybe a little email, write it out or something. But she just sends the contract and she just goes, oh, by the way, because of inflation, blah, 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 blah.
Inflation costs.
We
Joe
need
Biden.
to, we have to, the landscaping people cost a lot more money, so we have to raise the rent. That's fine. Maybe fucking tell us. Also, and so I wrote back to her, I was like, hey, I understand that you can raise rent and you just raised it by the California maximum, which during pandemic, nobody did that.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Kind of fucked.
I was like, on average, and I asked other friends too who are renting out their homes, I was like, how much did you raise the rent? Or like, well, it's pandemic. We didn't raise it at all. And one of my friends raised it 2% at most. And I told them like, well, she raised it by like 6%. They're like, damn, that's fucking aggressive.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot, especially without discussing it with you guys first.
Yeah.
So, I was going back and forth with this lady. And then she would just like, she wrote to Mariel, hey, oh, by the way, we should probably charging you more rent. This place is actually worth like $4,500 a month.
So fucking rude.
And then she goes, you should ask your husband because he would know about this stuff more than you.
Oh, wow.
Hit her with you females don't know anything.
So she basically
She-
mansplained
sexist.
to my wife. And first of all,
Wow.
I wasn't even that mad until Mariel was like, did you see what she wrote to me? I was like, well, what'd she write to you?
Yeah, let me see that phone. Let me see that email thread.
And I read the email and I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then she goes, I can't even deal with this. She just mansplained to me and she's a woman. She should know better. And I was like, yes. You know what? I started getting hyped.
Masculine David.
I started getting hyped. I'm like, you don't know about And so she started getting me all hyped. And I got so fucking mad. I shit you not. My nose bled because my blood pressure was going up. So as I was writing,
You gotta see a doctor.
You're like the girl
bro.
from Stranger
That's
Things,
crazy.
dude.
Yeah.
You're like Stranger Things 11, dude. You're fucking about to blow up.
So
I'll start levitating.
let me tell you this shit. So I'm writing this email, right? And we're going back and forth. And she's just kind of coming. I was like, hold on a second, $4,500 a month? I did one Zillow search, looked up the whole area, and I showed her what $4,500 a month can get you in this area. And she goes, well, our place is bigger. We had this. Let me tell you something. I'm going to post photos in this video about how stupid our fucking place is. Number one, all the walls are concrete.
So dumb, dude.
Fucking stupid as shit.
Yeah.
One earthquake, we're dead.
Yeah, die.
Number two, she built this fireplace that
didn't even
takes
know
up,
that.
I don't know, 40% of the fucking living room.
It's for luxury, bro. That's why you get to upcharge because it's beautiful. Like look at this fireplace. Tiny, bro.
Exactly. It's so small.
For ants, bro.
And look at it.
For ants.
How
They'll probably
dare
pay
this
you for
person who made this place this fireplace in a convenient area. Dude, another thing. This place, by the way, dumb as shit. There's another fireplace in the master bedroom that covers, I don't know, 50% of the bedroom.
Once again, luxury, dude.
Stupid.
Who doesn't want to go to sleep with a fireplace on?
Ridiculous.
That's a fire hazard, probably.
That's a fire hazard.
Crazy. Crazy.
You die.
On top of that, when we moved into this place, no fresh paint whatsoever. I have photos of, so she painted the wall 2 different yellows, 4 different browns, and then 2 different blues in the room.
You gotta have variety, David.
Yes,
The worst
variety.
color combination of all fucking
And so I
time.
wrote to her, and so when we were going to leave, right, I said, listen,
3 different yellows.
3 different
browns.
yellows.
This place needs 3 different
and
yellows.
blue.
Yeah, she just looked at it, she
7
goes,
different grays.
1 yellow, not enough. Dad, 3. I want 3. Fucking bitch. And so she didn't paint the place
She
fresh.
did sound like that though.
And so
In
Mariel,
honesty.
thank God for her, she took a photo of all the paint fuck ups when we first moved in, and it was never fixed. But I was like, fuck it, it's okay. We're gonna move in.
Did you paint the podcast room too?
Yeah, so we repainted everything, right? And so when I'm going to leave, I'm gonna repaint it a fresh white. And she writes back, she goes, oh, before you leave, I want you to repaint the place exactly how it was before we moved in.
3 yellows.
I don't even know where to find those yellows. And I'm like, and I wrote back to her, I was like, excuse me, you never gave us a coat of paint at all. We had to paint this place.
yeah.
So I'll paint it white, clean everything fresh, clean. And she goes, no, you have to return it back to the way that I gave it to you. I was like, lady, you fucked up the whole house. You painted all over the trim. I had to pay somebody to repaint the trim in the whole house. So she wants me to repaint the place the same color that she painted it because she likes it that way. I was like, I will repaint your home if you painted the home before I moved in, but you trashed the place and I fixed it. And she goes, well, no, that's a taste preference. You cunt bag. I will find where you live and I will murder you. Not even you. I know you have a son. I'm going to beat the fuck out of your son. And
he deserves it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Ken
your
does.
mother is a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
And
Also, she's out of Mad Men because she's fucking thinks women don't know shit about houses.
What's wrong?
she's like, women can't vote? What are you talking about?
Just to let you know, your wife, she's an idiot. She doesn't know how business works. Like, fuck this lady, dude. And she doesn't even have a thick accent, by the way. She's just perfectly English.
No, she does. She
She's
does.
just perfect English. Her English is perfect. I'm just being bad racial right now. But so I'm literally telling my buddy this. And
But
he
that's the voice we're all
And he was
thinking.
like blaming it on me. He goes, it's your fault. She's Indian. You know our people. He goes, you know our people. You shouldn't rent from us.
Whoa.
But she was super cool at first. But the moment that she tried to raise rent, and I was like, this is unreasonable.
Yeah.
By the way, her husband stepped into the email and he was like trying to calm everything down because he knew his wife was acting like an asshole. But then after that, we decided to leave. And so I told her, I was like, you know what? This conversation's done. I'll see you in person when you come here face to face and you talk to me.
Whoa.
And so
You
now
guys talk?
Square
and
up.
then she wrote back. She goes, well, I won't be coming. I'm just going to send management over. I was like, no. You come here and you say the offensive fucking shit you said on this email to my face.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then we'll see what's up.
You're about to whoop her fucking ass.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get butt naked in front of her. It's like,
Oh.
look, my wife got to see this every night. So now do you do too?
and then she gives you your whole deposit back.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have took a
That's how it works.
shit on the floor before you left and just
She's
left it there.
ridiculous.
Are you going to
dude.
do any like potentially petty stuff before you leave the
Oh,
place?
what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sticky note on every fucking area of the house like my buddy Ed did before he left his place, and tell everybody what's wrong with this place. Number one, because all the walls are concrete. By the way, it's going to be ice cold inside. It's going to be 30 degrees colder inside than it is outside.
I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could make a whole house like
I don't think that's
Concrete.
legal.
yeah. Is
Because
that
I
not
don't think
legal?
I don't fucking know. But it's all concrete. And we found out the first day when I tried to put a picture frame up and it destroyed my hammer.
Damn, dude.
I
Damn.
had no fucking idea.
That's crazy. That's kind of unheard of.
She refuses to fix the toilets, refuses to do anything. So I'm
Right.
like, we're done. And I'm going to make sure whoever moves in there knows how fucking shitty this place is.
Yeah.
And fuck the peacocks in our area too.
Yeah, yeah.
Peacocks
Fuck
are
those
fucking
guys.
losers, bro.
Oh yeah, they're the losers of the animal kingdom.
They really
got
are,
beef
though.
with
I
peacocks.
agree.
They're fucking useless, especially in Arcadia. All they do is probably cause car accidents. I bet there's a stat about all the car accidents that are caused by peacocks, but the Arcadia government is fucking
Covering it up.
covering it up,
Yeah.
bro. Because these fucking
COVID
peacocks
conspiracy.
are useless.
Nah, it's about the peacock conspiracy, dog.
I think originally
Fuck
the
COVID.
peacocks were protected in Arcadia. I don't think they are anymore.
Good.
I think you could just straight kill
It's
them
just
if you
on
want
site
to.
now. It's
Yeah,
just
what's
on
up,
site.
cut? I saw you yesterday on my lawn.
Taking his shit.
And they
I
yell
hate
like
peacocks.
dudes. Fuck them, dude. They just go, "Wah!" Like it's just some guy yelling at you. Like, what
When
the
we
fuck was
first
that?
moved into Arcadia, I thought children were screaming around in the area.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just peacocks.
all day. And then Pasadena got parrots.
Yeah, they do. Those motherfuckers are
We
loud.
got some
And guess
wild
where
parrots.
they're from? Mexico.
Uh-oh.
Are they?
You know what?
They are.
It's a really funny
My
story.
bad.
The first time I hung out with Patrick, like I went to his house because we were gym friends, and then we made that transition of like, hey, come over and hang out.
Lovers.
I go over to his house, and he's with a bunch of his boys, probably like 21, and they're all on Craigslist, and they're looking up schemes of how to catch parrots and sell them on Craigslist because you can make apparently like $500 to $600 per fucking parrot. And I remember they had a ploy of getting super soakers and wetting and getting the wings of the parrots all wet, so it'd be hard for them to fly, and then they could catch them.
Did it work?
Never
I think
once.
that's illegal,
Never once
bro.
did it work. It didn't work once. Also, the figure $700. I don't even know because it was my idea. I don't even know where I heard that. I never looked into it.
Hold up, it was your idea. Hold on a second.
High school.
So we gonna start this parrot business.
Hey,
wait.
let me tell you something right now. If you don't believe Pat is Mexican, that is the most Mexican thing I've ever heard in my life. Hey, like palabra, you know, if you like it like a super soaker and shit, if you spray the wings, they can fly.
All right, we thought they'd get heavy, or like we were gonna mix
You're dumb, bro.
a mixture of water and oil, like cooking oil,
Okay,
to
I see
like
that.
to weigh them down.
Where you see
Then
this
catch
from?
them, wrap them up, and then I don't know. I guess the pet store, but like I said, they could have actually been worth $25. Someone just said $700 one day, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's a lot of money." And we tried like twice and didn't catch anything.
They
We're
don't
like, "This is a
ever
bad
come
idea."
down to the floor. They're
Yeah.
always up in trees. They
Yeah.
never come down. That's like jungle bird shit. So I looked up.
Jungle bird shit. Of course.
I looked up.
David
these-
knows the reasons why.
So look, check it out. So I looked it up. Because at first when I was listening to these creatures, I'm like, they sound like parrots, but this is California. So somebody smuggled these bitches in, right? And apparently in Mexico, they're like going extinct.
Uh-huh.
So they're either there's not that many in Mexico now, or they're completely extinct over there. But over here they thrive because of all like the food and all the little creatures. So that's why there's so many in Pasadena.
That's why.
Yep. So some fucking guy probably got a super soaker with some oil.
Yeah.
Hey, come here. Boom. Got it out of the air and brought him over to California. But now
Yeah.
there's like hundreds of them here.
How did they catch them back in the day?
Super
I couldn't
soakers,
do it
yo.
with a super soaker. So
Super soaker.
what were they doing? You know, they didn't have super
Nets,
soakers.
bro. They got nets.
Are that high in the sky?
yeah.
How come you guys never just, I don't know, put out like food?
We did do that too.
They didn't
They
come
didn't
down.
come.
They're hella smart.
You actually really executed this plan, huh?
We tried.
Wow, I didn't know. I
It
thought it
didn't
was just a
work.
theory at that point.
No, we tried.
I had no idea you guys went to the field
We
to
went to
test
Khaled's
out
house.
these methods.
We went to Khaled's house because he had easy access to a big tree. Didn't work out.
It's like this get rich quick scheme.
It was so
And it's
dumb,
with
dude.
parrots of all things.
what happens if you had like 20 parrots and then you guys went to the pet store and they're like, oh yeah, these are
Like,
worth
dude, these
$5.
birds
Yeah.
are really greasy. We can't
sell
we
this.
can't sell
The
this.
resale value is fucking nothing,
Yeah.
dude.
I was like, fine, I'll give you a deal, 300. 300 for
Give me them oily birds, bro.
Give me them butter birds, dude.
What made you think that you could catch these birds?
Well, I mean, not my intelligence. It was like I don't know. It was just something someone said, and we were 20 or whatever, and we're like, yeah. And that
You know
was
what I
it.
think about
no
that?
thought whatsoever.
I've never
I was
talked
just
to you
like, we
about
could do
that,
it.
but I think about it very often.
Honestly, I think
don't know
about it.
why.
I think about it sometimes, and I get embarrassed. Like I get really embarrassed.
I'd be embarrassed
I'm
too,
embarrassed
bro.
right now, to be
Every
honest.
time I see parrots, I think of Patrick. That's why.
Dude, all the cool kids sold drugs. This fool's trying to sell parrots and shit.
Bro,
Hey, you want to sell weed? Nah, fool. There's fucking parrots.
$700.
It's probably way easier to start selling weed than to start selling
Nah,
parrots.
dog,
for
you can
sure.
sell a parrot easy, dude. No,
Okay, hold
honestly,
on. We're gonna reenact this real quick. Hey, I don't know who you're trying to sell parrots to, but nick somebody out in the street and you're gonna sell them a parrot. I want to see this shit.
hey, man.
Hey,
That's the intro. Hey, man.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
We are at Vaughn's right now. We're shopping for turkey burgers, but do you like parrots, dude?
Excuse me? Do I like parrots?
Parrots are dope. They're colorful. They're beautiful. They talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Are you divorced? Are you married?
I'm married, but I don't think I want a parrot at all.
Dude,
No.
you could make him talk shit to your wife. Like you could do dope shit like that.
No, I don't want a parrot in my house. Definitely
Fuck
not.
you, dude.
This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about BetterHelp a lot on this show, and this month we are discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. And I know a lot of you out there think that you have to wait to go to therapy before, when things become unbearable. But let me tell you something, therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can honestly help you avoid a lot of these lows. And many people think that therapy is, for so-called crazy people, but therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you recognize that all humans have emotions and we need to learn how to control them and not avoid them. I've been using BetterHelp for quite a while now, and that's why we still continue to talk about it on this podcast. And, honestly, just having somebody to talk to where I feel that, number one, it's in a safe space and I don't feel judged, helps me to really collect my thoughts and kind of control these crazy emotions, because honestly, we all know social media and all these outside influences tend to weigh us down, and we feel like sometimes we don't have anybody to talk to about these experiences because we feel weak, and that's where BetterHelp has helped me out a lot. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Genius Brain listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/genius. That's BetterHelp.com/genius.
You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, because how many people have you ever met in your life? Like you can count on one hand if you've ever met somebody that actually owned a parrot.
By the way,
They're all older.
Everybody I know that's owned a parrot, Mexican.
Really?
Mexican people love birds. They
I've
fucking
seen Mexican
love
people
birds.
with birds, but not parrots.
Dude,
Yeah.
Mexican
not
people
parrots.
love parrots. Like all
Chickens for
I know
sure.
Chickens.
three people that own a parrot and they're Mexican.
Hmm.
Like the those big gray ones?
Yeah.
I know a homegirl that owned one of those big fucking gray ones and had somebody else who owned one of those colorful green and blue ones.
I know a couple Mexicans with a parrot as well. With the whole actually bird.
They just
collection.
love birds, man.
They're such weird bird. Like having a bird is says a lot about you, I feel like. Like, why the fuck you got a bird?
I just
Why
find
you
it so
judging,
funny
bro?
that you somehow got your friends to go into the scheme with you, where you were just like, what was the pitch?
You don't even
But
believe
like
in birds.
$700,
You don't
dude.
even believe in the efficacy of having a bird as a
Like,
pet.
no,
Why are you
none of
trying to
your
sell
homies
them?
were like,
I just heard-
"Dog, that's dumb."
No, they were all on board. We were all
No, I remember
idiots.
it was-
Nick was
it-
on board. I almost hired
It
Nick.
was a collective of friends that are in there, and I was like, yeah, that does sound like
So,
a great
hold on,
idea.
Nick was on board too.
and actually, now I remember this.
Nick
I
was
went
down.
I went home and I told my dad about it, and he's like, "No, that's a terrible idea." He's like, "What if that's illegal? What if you get arrested?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And then never thought about it ever again.
Yeah.
I find it so shameful that he was talking shit to you like he wasn't in on the plan. You're a piece of shit.
He was-
So wait, hold on. You wanted to sell the parrots too.
Well,
so
it
what
was-
the fuck were you thinking?
It was my first time, and he had a very good pitch, and I was like, "Yeah, this sounds like a good idea."
His pitch was very simple. It was, hey, $700.
I was passionate though. I really was. I remember being passionate.
And the
about
whole room was like, "Let's do this. I
Yeah,
think we
we're
can
like,
really
yo.
make this work." Everybody collective. Like the scene of Wolf of Wall Street. It was like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just about parrots instead of stocks.
Parrot, oil, and super soakers. Those were the talking points.
That was the
It's
pitch.
just
on
the
my-
plan is so hilarious.
It's
to
a
me.
terrible plan.
The only reason why I'm laughing is because, first of all, what is your super soaker powered by? Do you know how high those birds are? They're literally at the tallest trees in
Yeah, they
Pasadena.
are.
There's no
We need like
way.
a fireman
You're-
hose.
It's all about arc. It's all about the arc.
Oh, my man's a physicist now, Mr. fucking parrot super soaker guy.
If you hit a high
It's all
enough,
about the angle like that.
Yeah, bro.
Hey,
If
we
you
do
look
what
at
they
the
lose.
trajectory of the shot.
yeah, it's trajectory.
But
Can't even see the
we
word.
have to talk about today's podcast. This fucking
more
guy.
business
Bro, wow.
schemes.
That was
The
so
topic.
dumb, huh?
So recently, and I had some time to think about this, right? Just because, number one, I like Joe Rogan's podcast. I listen to it intermittently, not everything. I think what I like about his podcast is that if you don't like what he's talking about, he's gonna put out like 6 or 7 throughout the week, so you could pick and choose which one you're interested in. So recently, Joe Rogan has been getting flamed.
Yeah, people coming after him.
people are coming after him. And so throughout the pandemic in the last 2 years, he has been somebody who has been rather skeptical about the information that has been given to us about COVID, right?
Mhm.
Which I think a lot of us
Definitely.
are very skeptical about, right?
Skepticism.
Yes. And the reason why is because, the coronavirus was so fucking new,
Mhm.
and we've seen the information change constantly, which is given because it was the novel coronavirus.
Yeah.
We don't know anything
The
about it.
nature of science
Exactly.
and these diseases.
And so what Rogan has been doing, he has been inviting people who are relative experts in the field. Specifically, he invited somebody who was a very well-known virologist. And so when somebody says, "Oh, are they a doctor?" Doctors don't mean shit in this scenario. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying a virologist has a lot more credibility to talk
That's their
about a virus.
shit.
It is what they are known for. And the specific person that he brought into his podcast has about like 9 patents on mRNA vaccines, which essentially is what the COVID vaccine is. So I listened to this podcast. So
The Robert Malone one?
yes. And he was talking about how relative dangerous these new vaccines are.
Myocarditis.
Yeah, they're not tried and true yet, right?
Mhm.
And how fast it's been given to us is a little bit alarming.
Mhm.
Which, hearing this from somebody who, once again, has 9 patents on mRNA vaccines,
Scary.
it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
And he's giving alternative information and alternative facts to what the news is giving us, right? So because of that, a lot of people have been, calling Rogan an anti-vaccine. I think he's vaccinated.
Yeah, he is.
I think he is. Yeah.
but he won't ever say it though. Like
Yeah.
he kind of does like toe the line a little bit when it
Mhm.
comes to the COVID stuff. Like part of the reason what you said about about Joe Rogan and why he's so great is because he does have a variety of guests. And then if you don't like talking about MMA, he'll have another guest that's talking about whatever the hell you want to hear. But the reason why I kind of stopped listening to the Rogan podcast as much is because I just didn't like how he would always just bring up COVID or
Yeah.
like just out of nowhere, just to kind of get people talking about it. And sometimes it was just too much. And I just like, bro, I don't want to hear him kind of lead on with this COVID stuff, especially when you have like an MMA guy. It's like, bro, I don't want to hear about this.
Mhm.
Just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And if it comes up organically in the conversation, that's great. But that was part of the other reason he was like very strong with,
Yeah.
and I think rightfully so though. Like,
Well, it's because
he's
it's big,
skeptical.
it's
Yeah, of
huge.
course.
It's like a big deal. Like it's still affecting a lot of people's lives. But that dude, the Robert Malone one, like the thing is like just it's good to have all the opinions out there, and as
Yeah.
adults, we can all just kind of fucking listen to it and be like,
Mhm.
I'll gather the information I want and make my own decisions. You know what I mean? Like,
And I think the interesting thing is about that pod, or just what people are saying, and they're like, he's spreading, because this is the hot word, it's misinformation, right? But then in my mind, I'm thinking, because I'm not a diehard Rogan fan, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm telling myself, what is misinformation when it's coming from the mouth of somebody who is a virologist,
Yeah.
who is very well known in this subject,
Who has some credibility.
who has a
Mhm.
lot of credibility, not even a little bit, a shit ton of credibility
Mm.
in this space. So what makes people say that that's misinformation? I think the thing that I dislike, right? Because once again, I'm vaccinated, right? I have nothing. I am vaccinated. I think
fucked up to say.
the
Kinda fucked
the
up.
problem that I have with a lot of people when they say words like misinformation, or they get super hyped up about a topic that even they don't know about, they don't do any type of research and they go on these long diatribes.
And they can't point it out. What's the misinformation and why is it misinformation?
Yes.
Go. And most people would be like, they have no idea what they're
No,
talking about.
because what they do is they have a subject and they'll use something else to discredit you that has nothing to do with this topic. If you are not vaccinated, I have read so many tweets, I've read so many Instagram posts about calling people murderers
Mhm.
if they are not vaccinated. And one of the interesting things that I have to, people have to recognize,
That's why I call Patrick all the time.
dude, all the
I'm
time,
vaccinated.
murderer,
Murderer.
Idiot.
killer, deadbeat, flash drinking dad, right?
Parrot catching.
Fair catching fucking
Motherfucker.
So they'll use they'll use something like these hot takes on this,
Buzzwords.
Yeah, they're
these
just
buzzwords to make people feel terrible about this stuff.
Right.
But you don't know a lot about this virus, or you know as much about this virus as much as I do.
For real, dude.
Right. And the fact that you can go out and call people murderers and call people just selfish or whatever because they don't want to take a vaccine that they don't know about, I think it's valid. Right. And
Yeah.
the weird thing is that, okay, let's talk about this. Fucking Mayor Garcetti.
What
What
an
a-
asshole.
He held his
dude.
breath, yo. Stop
Dude,
giving
he's
him
like, I
shit.
go like this. Like, shut the fuck up, dude.
There wasn't even a mask in sight.
Yeah. Shut
I don't
up,
give a
dude.
fuck
Stop
what
lying,
you,
bro.
Mayor Garcetti is the most hood motherfucker I've ever met in my life because only a hood dude would say that as a reason. Like, really, think about it like this. If we just flip it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking a picture, right? And so somebody goes, hey, you're not vaxxed. Why do you have your mask down? Hey, bruh, I was holding my breath. That's a hood explanation. And the fact that he's the mayor and he said that publicly is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
How come no one's getting mad at Magic Johnson, yo?
Because he's dope.
yeah, he's
Magic Johnson's dope. Well, and also he's not the one imposing the rules.
Yeah, no,
if it's like
it's so
if Magic
ridiculous.
Johnson was the one imposing the rules, you'd be like, what the fuck?
What did
bro?
Magic Johnson do?
Also,
He was in the picture.
he just didn't have a mask on either.
yeah, I think he was in the picture.
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
he
man,
was.
he survived AIDS. He could do whatever he
Yeah, he
wants.
did survive AIDS. Yeah, what's
I
COVID? What's
had
COVID?
AIDS. I don't care.
Yeah, that dude beat AIDS, dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about
The one
coronavirus.
person that beat AIDS.
He didn't give
he's
a
the
shit,
man, bro.
dude.
He's the man.
He's still fucking
he's patient
unprotected for
zero.
sure.
For sure,
No
dude.
rubber. He's
I'm
fine.
still fucking raw. And I'm Magic Johnson.
Dude, I can't believe Mayor Garcetti said that. And Newsom, I think, said the same. I can't believe they actually thought that's like out of South Park.
But also just take the L, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Just be like, yeah, I wasn't wearing a mask. Nobody was.
That's
It
a
was,
Chappelle sketch right there.
That's a sketch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a parody. There's
And
no
he
way
said
they
it
really
seriously.
said that. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny.
So straight
that's
up, when
funny.
I saw people posting it on the story, I thought it was like one of those Onion articles.
Yeah. Like,
So
this is hilarious. Like, ha, ha.
I giggled and I moved on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then 2 days later, I was talking to a buddy of mine. And he goes, dude, your fucking mayor's weird. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes,
your mayor.
He was like, you know,
Your
the fucking,
mayor.
he was talking about him
Not
not
my
wearing
mayor.
holding his breath in the picture. I was like, dude, that's an Onion article. And he was like, no, it's not an Onion article. He legit said that. And I was so pissed.
So he had to hold his, like, hypothetically, he had to be masked. Magic Johnson, what's up, Magic Johnson? And then not know what's up after. You can't talk to Magic after that.
10 seconds. He
And
held
then
his breath
when he
for at
gets
least.
10 feet away, he has to blow out because the germs that were in his nose, he has to like depress, you know?
He's stupid.
What a dumbass.
What a fucking
That
idiot.
dude is a weirdo.
He's weird.
That dude's weird.
The fact that he just
purges, bro.
He actually thought that people were going to be, you know what? That's my man.
You know,
His face looks like a purge mask. Like
He
the
does,
mask you
he
put
does.
on during the purge. Like, you know how it's Richard Nixon or whatever.
Yeah.
You could like put his face on and be like, damn, that guy's going to kill a homeless dude for sure.
I don't want to be like the cool guy here, but
Shut up.
I was never on Mayor Garcetti's train, bro. I never liked him.
You voted for him.
You want to know why?
Why?
So Tiffany had a graduation at UCLA, and he was the speaker. He was the keynote speaker. This motherfucker was 45 minutes late.
Wow.
What is he, Trey Songs?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why this? He's not even graduating. Why?
Yeah.
Why do we have to listen to Mayor Garcetti speak
Yeah.
Who about what? College? He didn't.
I'll be
He didn't go to
100%.
What does
UCLA,
the mayor
bro.
do?
That's what I'm saying.
What
But
do you
the reason
do,
why,
Mayor?
Holds his breath.
Yeah, he holds his breath.
And then he had to use this another lame, stupid excuse, just like he was holding his breath. He was saying that he was late because of a memorial from a firefighter.
Oh,
he
yeah,
had.
whatever.
right,
Yeah,
dude.
sure.
What?
You-
What's
Yeah,
the
right.
firefighter's name? Stipe Miocic.
Exactly. Exactly.
He was
First he
scrapbook
lies about
jerking.
masks, holding his breath. Now he lies about firemen's fucking memorials, dog.
He's scrapbook jerking for
Fucking
sure.
sketch.
Like you today.
The only way I would vote for Mayor Garcetti again is if he fucking had an Italian accent.
Yeah.
You fake Italian.
He should have an
He
Italian
should just
accent.
do it.
I was holding my breath.
Oh, like super Italian.
Yeah,
like
like a
that.
fungini, pomodoro, it's a calamari fritti. Yeah. Then I'm like, yo, that's my guy right there,
It just
dude.
says dishes. He just
Yeah, it
says
says
Italian
off a
dishes.
menu.
Penne.
Holding my breath.
Carbonara.
Mero pasta, a little basil, olive oil. And I'm like, hey, this guy is cool.
I'm voting
This
for that
guy's
guy.
Italian.
He honestly, I would vote for him, I think, too.
If
I'd
he
be
had
like,
the
yeah.
accent.
If he had an Italian accent, right?
I bet you, I honestly, no joke, people would act like if, you know, when they show the polls, there'd be like 15 people that actually voted for him if he did that.
If you want, get a little ciabatta bread, a crunchy exterior. I would love Mayor Garcetti,
Dude,
dude.
me too. I'd be on board. He won
What,
me
what
over.
do you mean? I hold my breath.
Hey, do the rest of the podcast like
Oh,
that.
perfect. All right.
This is amazing, bro.
If you don't know bueno, I hold my breath. What are you talking about?
You should break down the Joe Rogan story
Like
in
that.
your Italian accent.
Perfect.
About
Go.
the N-word
Whoa.
and the controversy of what he was
If
saying.
you know Joe Rogan, he a good guy.
Now he's Cuban. He's kind of Cuban. He's going
co-
Cuban. He's going Cuban.
He come to my restaurant. He say pizza buono. Pizza buono. I say okay. He come here. He say And what I'm like, hey, afangula.
This is Al Pacino.
Hey, afangula. Masavisa. Asante sana squashpada.
Yeah.
Is that a song?
And then
Is
people-
that an Italian song you're singing?
It's from Lion King. It's not even Italian.
People would be enlightened. They'd be like, "Oh shit, I never thought of it like that." Wow.
They're like,
I get it now.
how could they have a retard from an Italiana?
Korean.
But okay, let's go into that.
Bang.
So
Boom.
Joe Rogan did something pretty cool.
Did he? Did he now?
Oh, they have a compilation of it, actually.
No.
Is that what you mean?
Hold on.
That
Oh, my
was,
bad,
that
my
was
bad.
pretty.
I forgot
That
to
was
put it-
pretty cool.
I forgot to do an Italian accent.
Bro.
He did something cool. But he did after the whole Spotify thing, talking about misinformation, he actually went on Instagram and he put it out on Spotify to kind of talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
And he did a very good job talking about misinformation. And I think a point that he brought up that was really cool was, a lot of the stuff that people were saying that was misinformation in the beginning turned out to be true. For example, cloth masks.
Mhm.
Cloth masks don't do anything when it comes to this virus, right? And people were saying this. And I do remember 2 years ago when the pandemic first started, if you said that publicly, people would have called you a murderer. They would have said that you didn't care about public health, even though the facts were true.
Right.
And this is what he's talking about. A lot of the stuff because of this, media fervor and everybody's so quick to call somebody, quote unquote, a murderer, that when people have alternative thoughts saying, hey, these cloth masks don't work, people are just quick to dismiss you. And it turned out to be true. But nobody's addressing that, right? Nobody's talking about this virus being so new that a lot of this information that we don't know about. And when it turns out that it's not true, nobody wants to mention it. It just doesn't exist.
Yep.
So,
And that's part of the main issue of why people don't trust anything the government says. They never come back on what they're saying or put the information in context at least.
yeah.
Or just say hey guys, we're still figuring this out as we go. New information is going to be out, and sometimes that changes over a period of time.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that, and it sucks. But
No, they're not honest at all.
My lovely genius farts. This podcast, you guys already know, is brought to you by Babbel. I'm all about learning new languages, and I'm not just saying that. That my lady speaks, I don't know, Mandarin, Korean, Japanese, and English, and I'm trying to keep up. But right now, because I live in Los Angeles, I'm trying to learn how to speak Espanol. I'm not going to butcher it right now because I'm still on the way of learning it, because I want to talk back and forth with all mi compadres, and it'll be super, super fun. Pat on the podcast, he's Mexican and he speaks Spanish, and I'm trying to talk shit to his face in a very fluent type of way. Not only is learning a new language a fun and engaging new hobby, you can use it while you check off traveling more from your list. The whole Babbel process is addictively fun, fast, and easy, and Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons for real world use. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 languages, including Spanish, French, Italiano, and German. So you guys have a whole bunch of options. And the cool thing about Babbel is the fact that they teach you how to speak the language like regular people speak it. I know that you guys have taken language classes in high school, and they always teach you this jargon that's super textbook that nobody uses, and it's freaking embarrassing. But with Babbel, you'll be able to learn how to speak the language conversationally. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use promo code GB. That's BABBEL.com, code GB. Babbel, language for life. And let's just be honest. The fact that we could go into a restaurant and then we have a mask, and then when we sit down, we take it off, and then suddenly we're safe. It's a little ridiculous.
It is. Yeah.
It's pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah.
At this point, just have people come into the restaurant without the mask, because once we're eating, it's pretty much done.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It literally doesn't
spreading.
matter. That's not me being this fucking weird anti-information
Whoa,
guy.
bro.
This
Yeah.
is just 100% facts.
Isn't it crazy that that's controversial though?
Exactly.
Literally what you just said was the most common sense shit I've
Dude,
ever
people are
heard.
gonna come after me now.
Yeah.
They go, "Oh, you fucking murderer! I knew you were North Korean from
Yeah.
your gooky little face."
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was my comment that I had.
Yeah, nice.
I left that comment.
Yeah.
Ah,
And the landlord.
Gooky face, Santa.
What was that?
I don't know. I love Italian people, dude. You know what my favorite thing about Italian
That might be
people?
my new favorite accent you do.
Thank you, dude.
That's pretty fucking good.
My
bro.
favorite
like
thing
it.
about Italian people is how much they love food, and when you fuck up pasta, everybody freaks the fuck out. You
Have you seen those compilations of like Italians freaking out when they
No,
break pasta in the pot?
You gotta show me that because that shit makes me
love it.
literally die laughing.
And I'm like, yo, these guys are really Italian. I thought it was gonna be like East Coast Italian because I think that's what we think as Americans. We think like, oh, from New York, like I'm walking in, like that's what we think Italian is. But like Italian from Italy,
From the motherland.
so different, so different.
Dude, there was a video of this guy. He was trying to correct people on how to say mozzarella. Mozzarella. But because he's East Coast Italian, his version of Italian is this amalgamation of just like this cultural evolution that happened in America.
Yeah.
So he was trying to correct people. He goes, hey, it's not mozzarella, it's mozzarella. And then another, yeah, but he doesn't fucking know it's not that.
Yeah.
So another Italian person did a video of his video going, it's a mozzarella. And it was Super Mario.
You know, I'm gonna watch Italian content from now on, bro.
Yeah,
I
think
fucking love
shit.
Italian people and how diehard they are about
When
their
you
food.
watch them cook, bro,
Yeah.
there's something to it.
When you have a pasta, you put a lot of salt in the water because it should taste like an ocean. If you don't,
That's the line,
yeah,
dude. That's
if
the
you
line.
don't flavor pasta, it don't take a taste of nothing. There's
no
always a guy
pasta
with
water,
no
bro.
neck.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm about to lose all my Italian subscribers.
Yeah,
I think
shout out
it
to all
is
the
gaining,
Italians out there, yo.
Yes, but just to bring it back to the topic.
Back to Rogan.
Joe Rogan,
Back
Joe
to
Rogan did
Rogan.
something cool.
he did something really cool.
That's where you were.
No, but what he did really cool was the Spotify thing, and he
Yeah.
was talking about how, you know, he's going to do a better job of maybe inviting people who aren't so counter. What's the word? Counter information. What is
Just on one side of the spectrum of the
Yeah.
argument. Yeah.
So he'll bring somebody else in after just to balance it out.
That's a great
Right.
idea because, you know, a lot of people were like giving shit to Robert Malone and like all that podcast. And I think part of it is fair because some of the claims he was saying, I saw another like Breaking Points did a really good job of getting another MD who's a specialist in the field and then just contextualized what Robert Malone was saying to just make more sense. Cause he had like a lot of really crazy claims about like myocarditis that may not be scientifically, I guess, agreed upon unanimously in the. So they had another scientist come on, a doctor, a working practitioner, and break down some of the claims and just say like, look, we're seeing that if you get the third booster, the more increase of a vaccine you get, there tends to be a higher chance of myocarditis in men from 18 to 31. So with that information, he's like, it's not a question of getting vaccinated or not. It's a matter of how do we do it safely and
Yes.
make sure we lower the risk of this incidence of happening. And then he broke it down saying like, if you're a young male between the ages of 18 to 30, whatever, 35, maybe, and you have 2 shots already, maybe don't get the booster. Maybe you don't need to get the booster.
and that's very fucking important.
Exactly. And that's what we need, right?
Yeah.
We need more of that. Because unfortunately for Robert Malone, right? Like you see it where when he talks about virology and he talks about the vaccine stuff, because he's a doctor, people will only listen to what they want confirmation on and use that as a narrative of saying like, this doctor said this, so this must be true. But he has to, I think he should have done a better job of being a little more balanced with what the claims he was saying.
Yes.
Of like, this is not 100% definitive, but there's evidence that could prove and point that this may be true, but we still don't know. And I feel like when you have experts on like that and that talk with this type of cadence and this rhythm, then maybe he won't get, what's the word I'm looking for?
Canceled?
Canceled. Because all his Twitter got shut down. His YouTube video.
That's kind of crazy too, though.
They shouldn't do that, right?
Yeah,
They
that's
shouldn't.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like that can't fly either because then it's like, then it feeds more into they're trying to shut him down because he's saying
It just makes people
misinformation.
more dig deeper and dig
Yeah.
their claws in. They sink their teeth in a little bit harder.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that-
And it
yeah.
causes this cycle of what people keep talking about, misinformation, when we can there are people out there that have way more balanced views on the topic and they just need to be heard. And that's what Joe Rogan's good for. Joe Rogan is that guy where he could bring these experts on and provide a better opinion or just to ease the minds of the listeners. So they're not always like, what the fuck do I do? Do I get the vaccine? Do I not get the vaccine? Fuck establishment. Like it just keeps going on. And it sucks because now Joe Rogan's getting dragged for it. Yeah. And that's just my opinion on it. I think but also too, like when he says, I think we could do a better job. I could do a better job of getting more balanced guests. I'm like, that does it for me.
Yeah,
That's
right.
it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's
and
clearly
have a space for open discussion because that's what they need.
Because he's done it before where he had two people of opposing ideologies come on the podcast and battle it out. I wouldn't say battle, but just kind of go back
have a
and forth.
discussion.
They have a debate.
Yeah.
And they do that in the fitness ones all the time where they have like a keto guy and then they have like a regular, like whatever diet and they hash it out. But you can kind of extrapolate a little bit from those interviews, especially when you get certain fitness people on. He kind of gets some people that might be more on the outside of fringe that may not be 100% with the evidence base and kind of what's out there. But then again, you have to take that with a grain of salt too. But I don't know, man. It just sucks that he's getting dragged for all this.
I think it's a little more insidious though. I think because it's not just like random people getting outraged. I think it really is like the machine coming after him because he's a threat, dude. Yeah. He's a threat to all the media.
And this becomes an excuse for them to attack
It's like he's a threat to politicians now. He's a threat to a lot of powerful people. So I think it's more than just like people, because you'll see the people that want to cancel him, like even for what we're about to talk about, but they're like, he's dangerous. Like he could be doing this, he's doing that. It's like, yo, we're not little kids. Like we're adults. If I choose to listen to this, I can listen to this. I can make up my own fucking mind. Like you said, he brings on the opposing. That's all we need. Like, just let's hear both sides. Some people he might get convinced by this side. Some people might get convinced by that side. But that's just the way it fucking is, dude.
And that's
like,
very
just
important.
the way it works.
And I've always said this too. When you listen to something as free form as a podcast, it is your job as a listener when we talk about things that quote unquote, that let's say even for me, I think are facts, just take it with a grain of salt. And if it's something that you're going to take away from and apply in your life, do your own research and make sure that you fact check anybody on a podcast. Because at the end of the day, even when it comes to Joe Rogan's podcast or this podcast, we're just shooting shit. You're just a fly on the wall listening into a conversation of three tards. And that's really what it is.
That's the branding.
Yeah. And you know what? In all honesty, there are people who listen to this podcast that disagree with a lot of the things that we talk about, and they're welcome just as much as people who agree with us, because it's really just an entertaining conversation.
Right.
Now, like for example, when I first listened to Rogan's podcast and he was talking about things about weight loss and all this sort of stuff, and he had somebody named Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she is an expert in her field, and she talks about all these little small case studies when it comes to like certain vitamins or whatever. After I listened to that podcast, I was like, this is very interesting. I didn't go and start taking all the supplements that she suggested. I went, this is a freaking idiot. And I went and I decided to look up what this stuff does to your body. How much do you need it? And then I made a choice for myself. People forget that you have the option of choice. It is your choice to really go ahead and, understand the information that's coming at you and then apply it to your life. Nobody's forcing you to do this. This is a podcast. We have no boss. There is no there's no network filtering and screening the things that I'm saying. So with everything that I say on this podcast, take it with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to Joe Rogan, is because he has such a huge platform.
Yep.
Right.
And so the next thing that we're going to talk about too is that this is the weird thing. So we had this conversation, or the world is having this conversation. Somebody made a compilation clip of Joe Rogan using
Patrick Riley did.
and his name is Patrick.T.Riley. Right?
Damn, bro. Damn.
So this guy of Joe Rogan using the N-word. And so Joe Rogan on Spotify decided
imagine making that compilation.
to be the guy that went through literally 1,000 episodes.
So many fucking episodes. How long did that take?
How much research?
Yeah.
How long is the video? Is that like 2 minutes?
I heard it's long. I heard it's like 10 minutes.
That's a lot of N-bombs.
And so,
bro, 10
That's
minutes.
a lot of N-bombs.
That's a lot, bro.
So
no,
it's
it can't be 10 minutes long, dude.
It's 78 minutes long.
Yeah. So Joe, it's 2 hours. Another podcast.
All the fat, no fat on the video either.
Yeah.
No fat. No fat.
ads, bro.
No ads.
Edward. And so whether or not we're talking about context or not, right? And Joe Rogan also, he addressed this. He said that no matter what the context is, when he looks at these videos and he saw the video himself, he cringed.
Sure.
Because he was ashamed of it, right? And like,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope he cringed.
It wasn't like, yeah, woo!
He's like, oh, that was a good one. Replay that one. Replay that one.
damn right. Yeah, he didn't
10
say
minutes back to back.
that, right?
He's leaving timestamps. Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Different capitalization.
He apologized for it, and he talked about the context in which it was used. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, if you're not being dishonest, you probably use that word in those contexts as well. And I'm pretty sure that you could find years ago videos like I remember too when people would reference these words, like say for example, right? We're like, hey, so this guy said this, and we're talking about somebody who was racist and he used the N-word with the hard R. We would never say N-word. We would say this guy actually said the word N-word with the hard R. We would say this in reference to the story.
Right.
But we wouldn't say it as if it was us saying it.
Right. Because yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And at the time, it was understood and it was okay. But that word gradually, whether it was because of the internet or people were being more outspoken for it, made people feel a certain way. So now we don't do it anymore. And people are forgetting, like just contextualizing this, that even within the past 5 or 6 years, the evolution of where that word can be used and not used has changed a lot. And you have to recognize that. Now, it doesn't change the fact that the way that people feel about it, they feel hurt. And that's completely valid. Nobody's saying that shit, right? But when we look at what happened to Joe Rogan and why this is coming out, it looks like it's a hit job. It's like, okay, so Joe Rogan did a good job of addressing what happened on the Spotify cases.
Right.
Cool. He's scratch free. Well, guess what? I'm going to go after him again and I'm going to find something to cancel this guy, because if it's not this, it's going to be something else. And that's where I disagree. This podcast is brought to you by ButcherBox, my friends, my lovely genius brain farts. Due to your support, we get to be sponsored by ButcherBox. I've actually been using ButcherBox before I was even a sponsor, so this is just a match made in heaven. ButcherBox is a subscription service that takes the guesswork out of finding high quality meat, my friends. No more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more, because their sourcing decisions are made holistically, keeping the farmer, the planet, the animal, and your family in mind. I love the stuff that I get from ButcherBox. Actually, the other day, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and make a bolognese. And what does a bolognese require? Some good ground beef. And the great thing about Italian food is that there aren't an absorbent amount of ingredients. So the ingredients that you do use in your dish do have to speak for itself. And the quality of meat, even when it comes to ground beef, was so delicious. It made my bolognese freaking amazing. Every month, ButcherBox ships a curated selection of high quality meat right to your home. Free shipping for the continental US, no antibiotics or added hormones, and each box contains between 8 to 14 pounds of meat. Look, this is your chance to never have to shop for ground beef again. That's right, ButcherBox is giving new members free ground beef for life. Sign up at butcherbox.com/brain and get 2 pounds of ground beef for free in every order for the life of your membership. Let's go. Log on to butcherbox.com/brain. Claim this deal. So because, and by the way, he addressed this too, and he made sure that people knew how ashamed he was of the fact that he used this. And a lot of people who are in the black community came in defense of it. He's like, look, I met this guy. He's not racist. I know this dude, right? All these other maybe white comedians who saying he's not racist, your opinion probably doesn't matter as much, you know? But people are, yo, David Goggins did the best version of it. He goes, hey, I'm a friend of Joe Rogan. I'm a black man. I've had those hard words said to me. When he said it, was he wrong? Yeah, he was wrong, right? Is he racist? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fair.
That is fair.
He used it and it was terrible. Is he racist? No. And I think that's the most fair version of what happened.
Dude, 100%. So it's coming back to the context thing. Like, yeah, Joe Rogan was wrong, but context does matter. You know what I mean? Like you said, like there's a difference between fucking, like if I choking a woman is bad, right? Like that's a bad thing to do.
Going up?
Like it's
I don't know if I can read this
bad, right?
video
At
anymore.
Trader Joe's, you choke a lady, bad, right? In bed, you want to make her come harder, good guy. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
So you could fucking like, so
Good guy.
But the thing is like, dude, I don't know. He was wrong, but like, yeah, like you said, context is important. You know?
Yeah, and I think the weird thing is that whoever's trying to do this to him and his platform, they think that people are stupid.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
You know,
So who do you think is doing it?
huh?
Who do you think it is doing it? Patrick Riley.
Me, dude. It's me.
Patrick Riley.
I didn't catch those goddamn parrots, and I've been bitter ever since. Goddamn, dude.
It's a weird thing to talk about now. Where I, you know, I don't know how many people are really catching on to this, but it's just a little odd that this is the next thing that follows up. Oh, we didn't get to cancel him about the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that he's not credible in any of his platforms by finding something else to take him down with.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a Joe Rogan fan. You could even be a Joe Rogan hater, but the way that people are going about this is pretty fucking stupid and it's dumb.
Yeah.
And I dislike it.
Right.
especially when somebody like him addresses it really well. I would have an issue with Joe Rogan if he did a video. He goes, yeah, I could use the word. It was okay back in the day. I'd be like, yo, you're kind of weird.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
Yo, who has to give Joe Rogan a pass?
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle has to come out and be like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm giving Joe
Yeah.
Rogan a pass. And do you think that stops all the controversy?
I mean,
No.
Danielle Rollins came out and he was like, y'all think he's racist? I don't. And talking about a black man. That's Danielle Rollins. That's Ashley Larry, bro.
Yeah,
Right,
Ashley
exactly.
Larry,
That's
bro.
that is a pillar of the black community.
Yeah.
He's the best. But I really do think it's a CNN thing, man. I really do think it's like it's a media thing.
I think it's a media thing. It's just because it's the corporation, like they're all kind of involved, like politics, corporations, media. So I think it's that machine trying to get rid of him, dude. He's too much of a problem.
A lot of people are making comparisons from now that like CNN, their ratings were through the roof when they would just talk about Trump all the time, right?
Yeah.
Shit on him, whatever. And then now that they don't really have Trump anymore, a lot of people are making the argument that like Joe Rogan is kind of being the next target, the next guy that they can kind of come after. And then while like I hear everything about Joe Rogan right now, but I hear nothing about the stuff in Ukraine that's happening, the stuff with like Russia, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like, and even the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. Like it is interesting, and you can play conspiracy theory all you want, but it is interesting how you start to see, you notice certain trends that happen that are right up in your face.
I'll tell
Like-
you this whole Joe Rogan COVID thing it's bigger news than the fact that CNN, a supposedly accredited fucking news source, decided to take one of his clips. They made him look like a zombie from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, with the filter.
With the whole filter,
Yeah.
and they put that as a fact.
Yeah.
That is not as egregious as Joe Rogan, who brings alternative thought from experts. That to me is a problem. And once again, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, for real.
But when I saw that CNN did that and then nobody's making a big deal of it, shows how convicted people are already in their thoughts of what they think about COVID. It doesn't matter about facts. It doesn't matter about this new information that's coming out. They are going to believe what they want to believe.
It's religious. It's kind of religious.
It is very religious. And
it's
that's
religious.
scary.
It is scary.
But
It's weird as fuck, dude. Like people are just so on their team that they're just not. I don't know what happened, where the breakdown happened, but I think Trump had something to do with it because he got people so riled up and he got people scared. That's what I noticed is when people are afraid, and if like you give them kind of an outlet or a team or something to hang on to, like they just they turn into these fucking weirdos that we're still living with today, you know?
I think the algorithm be fucking people up, dude.
I think that has part of it too.
Right? Because it's like in your face all the time, and then it becomes of like, why is everybody talking about this? Like,
Yeah.
there becomes that type of reaction with certain groups of people. But yeah, it just seems like people just want to be, they don't want to be challenged in their thought. They don't want to be challenged in their own beliefs, I think. And I think it's really hard. I think nowadays it's kind of worse than ever because you see it in different pockets in all communities. Like it's interesting because in the fitness community, you see the same type of thing. Like people are arguing about stuff that like doesn't really matter, you know, and it becomes like,
cares?
yeah, it's just too much. And then you see that extrapolated out, but just now it's with COVID and you kind of flip whatever topic there is in each community. And there's going to be just so many people just arguing about it over the little minute details that kind of don't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, at the end of the day, what it's really showing is that a lot of people don't really care that much about free thought, right? And I say that because the fact that nobody cares, I wouldn't say nobody, but on the internet, it seems like the vast majority of specifically a lot of like hyper liberal people, they don't care about just like your freedom being taken away is very odd to me.
Yeah, it is
Right.
crazy.
And I know it sounds very exaggerated to a lot of people, but when somebody says to me like, hey, this is a vaccine that we don't know too much about, but you have to take this because I say so. It kind of freaks me out. And once again, I'm fucking fully vaxxed,
course.
right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I still
You
don't.
weren't nervous? I was nervous when I got
was
my
nervous
vax.
as shit.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was fucking nervous. And it doesn't, and the fact that people just don't care about that. They
Yeah.
just go, okay, not everybody, but they say, well, it's a vaccine, we should just take it. Well, you know, people in Japan, the reason why they were so delayed with taking the vaccine was because
It was the perfect vaccine. It took so long to perfect it.
There was
The
a-
Japanese.
like years ago, Japan got fucking wrecked by a vaccine because it wasn't like either thoroughly tested or something like that. And they got fucked by it. After that, they're like, unless it's fully tried and true, we're not taking this fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
So they were an example of somebody who they're not against vaccines, but they want more evidence that this stuff will work and it'll
Yeah.
protect them.
And I think that's
Completely
fair.
cool.
I
Yeah.
think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Completely cool. Like that's a very common sensed way of approaching the situation.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that people should just stop fucking getting in other people's faces who don't want to take the vaccine. And people who don't want to take the vaccine should stop calling people who do take the vaccine fucking idiots. Just
Yeah.
mind your own fucking business.
I mean, and to go back to the free thought thing, it's not just even with the vaccine. It's like people even getting banned, even like the Robert Malone guy getting banned off Twitter or Alex Jones. It's like, and you could hate Alex Jones and be like, fuck yeah, or Robert Malone and be like, good that he got banned off all his social media platforms. But again, it comes back down to the freedom of choice. It's like, you're happy that they didn't give you a choice, like the option of making your own decision in terms of if you want to listen to this guy or not. Like in a way, they're still taking your freedom away.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking weird as shit.
Hey, if flat earthers can have a fucking Twitter,
For real.
Yeah,
bro.
dude.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to talk
For
about something
real.
stupid?
But
Exactly.
honestly, though, like that's a really interesting case study because, like, the fact that people think the Earth is flat just shows that no matter, and they claim they have evidence, right?
Which
and
they
it's,
do
it's,
not.
It's all wrong.
In Antarctica, there's a wall, bro.
That's not this ice wall, bro.
You haven't seen it,
It's
dog?
the fucking it's in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But like the fact that like there's a large community of people that really believe that the Earth is flat, and they refuse to take any other proof from anybody that's giving like legit actual proof. Nah.
Yeah.
Like no, because my proof shows this. And I think that's what the problem is. Nobody can really tell the difference between what real information is and what actual misinformation is.
Well, here's the hypocrisy in it. Remember, so everybody's golden source of information for people who are hyper pro vaccine, right, is that their golden source is the CDC. Well, the CDC
Mhm.
also stated that, well, guess what, guys? No more 10-day quarantine, only 5 days. And then everybody who was so pro CDC, they go, oh, the CDC, they're full of shit. It's like, well, hold on a second.
yeah, they flip, bro.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. You were just literally singing their praises, saying that everything they say is 100% factual.
Right.
But when this became an inconvenience to you, suddenly they're not true.
Right.
I don't like that bullshit. You better stick to your fucking guns because you were so busy calling everybody a murderer. Now you have to fucking lie in the bed that you made.
Absolutely.
So how fucking dare you go against your golden source?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Same thing with pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals used to be the devil, the Antichrist, making money off everything, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, oh, we just got to believe everything Pfizer says.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
what the
get
fuck
it.
are you talking about, dude? It
You know
makes
what?
no sense.
If it what was it, Robert Malone?
Mhm.
If he had a thick Italian accent,
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
everybody would have believed what he said.
I'd vote for him.
And then you give him a lob to fucking Italian Robert Malone. You're like, Robert Malone, what is the better alternative than the vaccine to solve COVID?
You just get a cup of tomato sauce.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you put a little basil inside, get an olive oil,
Yeah.
and then you put it on your face.
Nice.
And then you go to sleep, huh? And then the calamari frito. Boom! That's the cure to COVID.
I'd
yo.
be like, fuck the vaccine after I hear that. That'd be
I'm
great,
gonna
dude.
be some mozzarella.
and then a mozzarella get the Mario goes and Mario.
Yeah, yeah.
Mario come in, right? It is like, hey, Luigi, a fondanza.
Yeah, dude.
David So gets canceled for using Italian accent.
I know.
Boom.
Hey, I'll tell you
It's
this
all
though.
good though. Nobody gets mad about that.
Italian people, Mexican people are the coolest motherfuckers ever because they don't give a fuck.
They love it.
They don't care. They're like, hey, bro, you sound just like my cousin.
Yeah.
You sound just like fucking Gordo, dude.
That's so
Hey,
true.
Gordo, come here. He sounds just like you, bro.
Yeah, because you got the nuance, bro. You got the nuance of the actual Italian accent. You hang out with a lot of Italians or what?
No, it's actually pretty racial what I'm doing right now.
It's okay, though.
No, it's pretty racial.
But you know why?
I'll give you an out.
The reason why Italian people and like, for example, like the French accent, nobody cares because you guys are cool. Like we're making fun of cool. It's like when people make fun of white people. Like you guys are the dominant source of whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you're imitating Italian accents, it's like you're imitating somebody that's known for being cool and making dope food. Like,
Yeah, right.
you're not oppressed. In
Yeah, no one
America, are you?
cares.
and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, our food is pretty fucking good.
Maybe Italian people are oppressed in America. I don't know. I just made a general sweeping statement. I don't know.
I don't know.
Do,
Yeah.
do, do,
Well,
do.
guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We have deadbeat dad Patrick over here. Just kidding. He's a great father. I just like to give him shit.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then we have the virus himself,
the
COVID,
virus.
Nick the Ear. If you're looking for personal training, how to lose weight, I've gained an exponential amount of weight since I joined with him.
Yep.
Please hit up Nick.
Follow my protocols, yeah.
Hit up Nick
You'll
the Ear.
gain 20 pounds.
And we'll see you all next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.